Hey everyone, welcome to my kitchen. I'm Bethany, and today's recipe I'm going to be showing you one of the easiest and tastiest pasta dishes. It's a cheesy mushroom pasta, and I personally think you don't even have to like mushrooms to enjoy this dish. It's that good. So let's get right into it. All right, so we have our pasta water going, and that's one of the first steps that we want to do. This dish, since it's pretty quick, we want kind of a progression with all the steps. So the first step would be to put the pasta water on and get that boiling, but not cook the pasta just yet. The next thing is I like to clean my mushrooms. And so what I do is I just take a damp paper towel and just wipe off the dirt or anything on it. This was kind of controversial in my egg bake video. I shared that I don't wash the mushrooms, and my mom always taught me to do that, was just wipe them with a paper towel. Then a lot of you were telling me that mushrooms are grown in manure and that it's kind of gross not to wash them. However, I mean, all the experts will tell you not to wash them, and that's just because they're already filled with a lot of moisture. You kind of don't want to waterlog them, and it kind of makes them slimy when you water them or like rinse them. So I just like to wipe them with a damp paper towel, and then if they're really dirty, you can just rinse them lightly and then cook them immediately. But you kind of don't want to add extra moisture if you don't have to. But I don't know. Kind of torn. You can rinse them if you want, if you don't want to deal with the thought of manure on them. Okay, so we've cleaned our mushrooms, and I'm gonna set them over here. And then next we're gonna prep 2 shallots, 2 to 3. I have a pretty big one here and then a small one. So I like to use a good amount. I've been on kind of a shallot kick lately. But it's nice because it's like in between a garlic and an onion, so it adds a lot more flavor than an onion would. But you can totally just use half of an onion. You don't need a lot of it. And we'll just dice this up. All right, so now we're ready to cook our shallots before we cook our mushrooms. And I have a pretty big saucepan here, and that's kind of necessary because we're gonna be cooking the pasta in here too, so we want it to be a little bit bigger than a regular saucepan. So we're first gonna add 1 tablespoon of olive oil, 2 tablespoons of salted butter. Butter is so great in a pasta dish like this because it just goes really great with the mushrooms, and it adds a ton of flavor, and it's such a simple way to add flavor. So now we're gonna add our shallots to the oil and the butter. Shallots cook pretty quickly, so they're gonna cook quicker than onion would. So just keep that in mind. And I have this on a low to medium heat, so nothing too high. We don't wanna burn it. Okay, and while that cooks, we're gonna get our mushrooms ready. So I like to slice them not too thin, not too thick, kind of like, I don't know, 1/3 of an inch. And then I like to just chop them after I dice them, because I don't really like big pieces of mushrooms in this dish, but you can kind of cut them however you like. But I like to just have smaller pieces of mushrooms. So this is nice for the shallot. It's nice and soft now. We don't want it to be browning or anything like that. So now we're gonna add our mushrooms. And we'll add a pinch of salt. That will really help draw out the moisture that's in the mushrooms. All right, so typically while the mushrooms cook, it's plenty of time for the pasta to cook, but even if the mushrooms are done before the pasta is ready to go, you can just shut those off and then wait for the pasta to be done. I'm using Mezze Maniche. I really like this. It's like a little baby rigatoni. I also like twisty type of shapes to catch the cheese and the mushroom sauce with it. So you can use whatever pasta shape you like, but I like these, or I don't know, any type of fun shape is great. So we're gonna add this to our boiling salted water. and we'll cook the whole pound of pasta. Why not? We'll just stir the pasta in there. That's kind of the best way to help prevent sticking. So we're gonna let this cook until al dente. That's gonna be different for every pasta. Al dente just means to the tooth, so there's a little bit of a bite to that, and we want that because it's gonna cook a little bit more in the dish. We don't want super soft pasta. So we'll let this cook and we'll go back to our mushrooms. Okay, so now we're back at our mushrooms and these are looking good. They're softening up and they've cooked down a good bit. Now we're gonna get some garlic going in this, and I got a garlic press. I mentioned it in my sausage soup video, and I said I was only gonna use it a little bit. Well, I'm using it all the time. I love it, and I don't have to take a ton of time to mince garlic with a knife. But we're gonna do 4 garlic cloves, and we're gonna mince these or press them right in. I like to do this after the mushrooms are cooked just because I don't want the garlic to burn in any type of way. And we're gonna stir that garlic in here. And I'm gonna grab a little pinch of red pepper flakes. You can put as much of this in as you'd like. I'm probably doing like a little less than 1/4 teaspoon, probably like 1/8 of a teaspoon, maybe a little bit more. And we'll stir that in as well, just for a little touch of heat, nothing intense. Okay, then one last touch of flavor, we're gonna add a splash of wine. I don't really have a measurement for this, just kind of a generous splash of a white wine. I'm using Pinot Grigio. It's typically a white wine that I cook with. We'll stir this in with our mushrooms, and this is just going to flavor the mushrooms and the whole dish so beautifully. Just adds such a depth of flavor that really nothing else can add. But if you don't want to add alcohol to this dish, you can totally leave it out. All right, so our pasta is done, mushrooms are done, and you never want to just go by what the package says for al dente. You always just want to taste it to make sure it's at the right texture because the package isn't always right. So what we're gonna do is we're not gonna drain the pasta. When I'm making a dish like this, I actually don't like to lose all that pasta water because it is a huge ingredient in making this dish creamy without actually using cream. So what we're gonna do is just take a big pasta spoon and transfer our pasta right to our mushrooms. So we'll stir the pasta in with the mushrooms. We'll ladle in some pasta water. We're gonna finely grate a large amount of Parmigiano Reggiano, about 1 to 1.5 cups. I mean, you can be generous because this is where a lot of flavor is gonna come as well. And this is where that cheesiness, creaminess is gonna come in. So we're gonna finely grate it. We don't want it to be big grates of cheese because that's not gonna melt as easily into this. And I'm gonna just do the cheese in batches because I wanna get it melting and mixing into this. So we're gonna add another ladle of this, and don't worry about putting too much pasta water into this dish. It can handle it, it absorbs right up. The pasta just kind of eats it. And we're gonna keep grating the cheese, adding more pasta water if needed, until this gets to a nice creamy consistency. All right, so we've been shredding the cheese, we've been adding pasta water just to create a really nice creamy sauce. And now everything is really coming together. This smells amazing. You can see how creamy the pasta is. So now we're gonna add a generous pinch of black pepper. And now we're gonna chop up some fresh parsley and some fresh basil. We're gonna just chop this up really small and add this to the pasta. All right, now the best part, we get to taste a little bit of this. It looks so good, it smells so good. And just gonna, it's like 3 pieces of pasta, but it's fine. I'm gonna just sprinkle Some Parmigiano Reggiano. This dish has to have the fresh parm on top. Adds a nice texture to it too, but more cheese, more flavor. And the mushrooms, when using Mezze Maniche, the one thing that I don't love is that the mushrooms all disappear into the noodles, so you can't really see them. So that's the one little downside of that. But it's so good. So good. But it's delicious. This pasta dish is truly one of my favorite quick pasta dishes. Of course, I love a bolognese that takes hours, or the meat sauce. All those are amazing with pasta, but I love this for a quick pasta dish because the flavor is just super impressive. We have the garlic, the butter, the white wine, and the mushrooms just release such an amazing umami flavor. That's why they shine in this dish. Whether you like mushrooms or not, you really can't tell because I cut them small. So it's just fantastic, and it comes together in no time at all. And again, just the flavor is so good. And we forgot to mention the Parmigiano Reggiano with that pasta water just creates the perfect creaminess. So I hope you guys enjoy it and love it. And you can always let me know in the comments if you enjoy it. You can also let me know if there's any recipes that you would like me to make as we come into the spring and summer months. I am always looking for inspiration, so feel free to share any dishes that you would like to see on the channel. I'd be happy to make them. And thank you so much again for all the support. We'll shout out a few viewers. We have Enlighten Me. Thank you so much for trying the recipes. I think it's Enlighten Me. There might be some numbers in there, but Enlighten Me, thank you so much for trying the recipes, sharing them with your family. I'm so glad you've been enjoying them. And thank you so much for supporting us week after week. I really appreciate it. And Mike Costa, thank you so much for week after week supporting our channel. We appreciate it so much. And Mike actually went on a podcast and talked about the Simple Palette YouTube channel. So thank you so much, Mike. We really appreciate it, and happy that you're enjoying everything. And thanks for all the laughs in the comments. You've left some hilarious comments, and Drew and I have died laughing at some of them. So thank you so much, and for the support. But I appreciate all of you liking, commenting, subscribing to the channel. It really means so much. So thank you, and as always, we'll catch you in the next recipe, and I'll see you in the comments.